today we are discussing a topic which is putting the organization on a digital skills transformation roadmap, right? I mean, being digital savvy nowadays is like the same way business communication used to be probably a decade back, right? Since we are TeamLease, we are also into staffing business. Most of our employers who come to us, and when they share a JD for the staffing requirement, this is one ask which is always there in every CV, that the employee has to be a digital savvy. That's why I mentioned, like the way it used to be business communication probably a decade back, now that has been replaced by the digital skills, right? So,
Yeah.
and since you are from learning and development, you yourself would have seen how learning and development industry has also transformed itself in the last decade. I mean, gone are the days when we used to send the hard copy of the courseware at the customer's site, when we used to record or track the attendance sheet on a piece of a paper, right? The feedback used to be also taken on a piece of a paper, and then we used to courier it back to our customers, right? So we ourselves in the learning and development industry in the last decade or so have also evolved. And from the hands-on practice as well perspective, that earlier when we used to do any kind of practicals, there were probably an era last decade wherein we used to send the autoloaders or the machines at the client side physically, because the systems which they used to work upon will not allow us to function those labs. So that's why we used to send our systems at the client side. But now we have those cloud labs as well to address this issue. So let me begin with the first question in this discussion, Deepa. So my first question to you is that in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, how do you envision the role of learning and development in digital skills transformation within the organization? So since you are from the same role, so how do you foresee yourself when it comes to driving the digital skills transformation journey in your organization?
Yeah, that's great topic, I would say, Vivek, to start with. And yes, as you already covered that lot of digitization that we see, not only in the learning and development perspective, but from the day-to-day activities that we do, right? We have already been seeing that. So with the rapidly evolving digital landscape in today's world, the role of learning and development is become more and more critical in driving this digital skill transformation within different organizations. So there is a need, if I may say, post COVID, we have seen this increase in the digital transformation a lot, because we were it was really challenging for us to address the learning and coaching to the employees who are working from remote locations and all of that, right? And also there was somewhere a need to come up with a hybrid model of learning. That is when the digitization came into picture. And also I think the main reason for this to get promoted, or maybe even we are moving towards this and promoting this, is with the pace the technologies are growing in the market. It's very quick. As we speak, every second there is a new technology getting added, right? And there are new skills that are getting added. Maybe it's a custom courses, or it is some analytical courses, technologies that are getting added, included. And there are hybrid technologies that is also working on-prem, public cloud, and etc., right? So basis that, this is very, very important, where we have also identified as a learning and development, it's very important for us to identify the skill gaps to start with. So what we have done is understanding the existing skill set. We have looked into the skill gapping, what is required, and basis that we go ahead with the learning phase, or maybe you can say which is part of an business requirement, which is a part of a career development for an employee, or it can be part of any project or a program as well, right? For them to implement that into their day-to-day businesses as well. So what we have done, we have also adopted something called as a hybrid learning. We all are aware that there are ILT sessions, VILT sessions, there is digital content available, plus there is a hybrid mode which is also moving faster in nowadays, which is where we have a e-learning which is made available and moving the employees actually to a digital platform. Now, if we look at, there was a trend where we were actually dependent on different existing forums, platforms we already have in the market. I need not name them as well, right? So we all know that. Plus, we also see higher education program happening. We see the post graduations happening. So I see digitization is happening everywhere. And from the perspective, what you asked me, I see there is a need, and it is really important in today's world, because it is not possible to address all the requirements or make that candidate ready at a specific time at the pace that industries are running at, right? So there is a need for us to come with an alternatives. So one, we can have a specific kind of training where we can have assigned coaches or maybe instructors who are delivering. This can be specifically for the complex technologies. Then it comes to the cell-based training where somebody can literally go through the courses, they can apply, they can use this platform, and then they can upskill themselves, where we can save a lot of resources, lot of time, and we can speed up on the upskilling portion as well. And the third comes a hybrid model. For example, if there are some courses or some kind of learning phases where there is a need and a must to integrate the best practices, so in these cases also we can go ahead. So there are three phases, as I said. One is the instructor led, one is the cell based, which comes under the digitization, and the hybrid model also comes into the digitization. So very important, if you ask me to list down the four main topics for these in the today's world, I would say first is to analyze the skill gap analysis, and then you have a design target training programs in place, which includes what is the objective of a program, how we are going to do it, and what is the outcome that we need to look at. Then comes how do you promote this for a long term learning phase to the employees. It's not only about somebody going through the learning phase for a specific duration, but also somewhere it is linked in an organization. How is this going to assist the business to take it forward? Plus, second thing is how is it also contributing to the employee growth? That is very, very important. And then comes how do we collaborate with the different business units, how best we can deliver and make sure that all the requirements are met within that specific timeline. And last one would be leveraging on the technologies. That is possible only when we have actually connected those dots which are available. For example, let me say, let us take an platform. XX platform is available. Now, I want to come up with a customized track which is specific to a project need or a program need. What we can do, we can bring in the content from the in-house. We can connect with the external partners, we can go ahead with the e-learning platform which are already available. So that is very much important, exploring these things and leveraging the technology, because these all go hand in hand. So I think these are the main five factors which actually add more value and make it possible for L&D to move towards the digital skill transformation.
Interesting perspective, Deepa. I agree with you. And you mentioned that digitization is happening everywhere. So one example which we have seen in the last decade, wherein digitization and digitalization has entirely transformed a system, which is the banking system, wherein it has not only transformed just the user experience, but the entire system has evolved, right, through digitization and digitalization, right? I mean, gone are the days when we used to stand in queue just to get your passbook updated, right?
Absolutely.
Now, almost every bank has their app, and you can do all the transactions in just a click, right? So in the same context, like the way I have given you this banking system example, could you please share a compelling example or a case study where your organization has successfully implemented a digital skills transformation program, and what were the key drivers of its success? I mean, it can be with your current organization or with your previous team.
Yeah, Yeah, that's interesting. So again, as you said already, we see digitization everywhere. I would say the best example would be the Digi Yatra that we have, the airport, which is almost digitalized, and we know everybody's aware of it. Everybody's using that, and now we know how seamlessly we are able to actually use those features, and it reduces a lot of time with the increase of travel time, with the increase of we are getting not enough, we are not even getting enough time to complete on the task or maybe to manage the personal and the work life. I think these things are actually cutting down on that timeline which is required. Very important. Now, coming from the learning and development perspective, yes, we had a program called as a skill transformation that was in 22 and 23. What we did is we wanted also to build a pipeline from the organization perspective. It's not only about when you receive some requirements or you want to build up those skills, but also there is always a vision after 6 months, after a year, or after 1.5 years. What are the kind of skills that you want to build in the center? Because tomorrow, if we look at the forecast, what is upcoming, what is new in the market, we should always be ready beforehand, so that we should be open for any kind of requests coming in, deals coming in, projects coming in, right, as an organization. So we had something called as a skill transformation program, where we had different courses which were the top 10 courses which were identified, like for example, data science, we had artificial intelligence, then we have a few on the public and the private cloud as well, and others. So we had identified some top category uh, skills, and then we had a we had a proper structure in place. So in the previous question also, I did mention about we need to have a targeted training program. So we had a targeted plan. Who are the candidates, the best eligible for this? What should be the, the upskillment or the readiness in the future? What is the targeted number we should have? So we need to have a proper planning. Before that, you should have a proper analysis done on that. It shouldn't be that we are moving towards it, but tomorrow we do not see any outcome out of it, right? So that is very, very important. And then once all that study was done, we came up with this program where we had, I think, roughly around 150 plus candidates where they were enrolled to this program. But again, that was basis the evaluation. They had to go through an assessment where they have to clear the assessment, and only the best fit candidates were part of these programs. Now, these programs were for 3 months, 6 months, or a year also. Now, these were all digital program that you see. So we had a platform. We still have that platform where we moved all the content to a digital. These were all customized. These were all built in house. And then we tried to make it, aligned to the business needs, which is upcoming. Plus, then we had these tracks aligned to them. So some people were going through the courses for 3 months. Some people were aligned to courses for 6 months. This is again the digital courses. So nobody was involved, nobody was engaged. But again, somewhere when we did that kind of transformation, it was new for us. So we do not want it to let go, just assign something and then let the people take it up. And there has to be some kind of governance. There has to be some kind of feedback or findings that we need to do as we move forward with a new technology, right? So what we found is we saw a need to also integrate or maybe plug in few sessions from the experts, or maybe, as I said, best practices, where people can actually correlate with the digital content, what is available, how they can implement in the today's world. So that has actually worked, helped people to move them slowly from that the class based learning to the digital platform. It was little difficult for us initially because people were hesitant, people were not comfortable picking up the digital learning, but slowly we have made it happen. And we saw a lot of people got certified. We have done post graduation programs rolled out from 22 onwards, and today we have a lot of people who have completed the post graduations, executive MBA courses, or the regular MBA courses, data scientist diploma courses, and others. So we have successfully done. And today, if you ask me, after 2 years, people are very much comfortable to go ahead with any kind of digital skill transformation you assign without any further doubt or any questions. I think they have already accepted it and they are much more comfortable going ahead with that.
That's great. What an achievement, Deepa. Now, since you mentioned this example, this leads to my next question, that In the context of digital skills development, how do you balance the need for personalization and scalability in learning initiatives? And what strategies have worked the best for you while implementing such initiatives?
Yeah. So as I said, there were challenges. So we had a few findings. I would not say these were concerns or major concerns or issues, not at all. These were few of the findings. What next? What better can be done, right? How we can make it more and more effective, right? I think the main important was the governance. Once you have a structure in place, the proper regular cadence, regular governance is very, very important into this. Second thing is was regarding the personalization of the learning experience that was based on the business needs or the preferences that we studied from the forecast that we already had in place, right? Because if we look at Google, if we look at cloud, if we look at Azure, if we look at Nutanix, Cisco, Commvault, whatever technology is coming into market, there is also forecast from these OEMs as well, right? So we need to have that proper study in place. You need to have a proper collaboration with them to understand, okay, what next is going to come up, because of course customers are going to ask you what is latest in the market, right? So doing all that study, we came up with building up this, and then we made sure that okay, we need to have this number or this set of people to be ready to pitch in for the new deals, or maybe go ahead with the new accounts that might come up in upcoming future, maybe in 6 months, 8 months, or a year also, right? So that is something that we came across, and we did personalize on the learning. As I said, we had actually to sit through and evaluate, and had multiple rounds of connects between the stakeholders, or maybe you can say the capability technology experts. So we had multiple rounds of discussions where we came to this final conclusion saying that this is how it has to be, this is the need of the business, and then we implemented that. Now, coming to the scalability was, as I already mentioned, a mix of self-learning plus an ILT session. For example, okay, there is a need of best practices to be plugged into, or some kind of SME sessions to be plugged into, or we want a leader to come and say why this is important, creating awareness about it. That is very, very important. Unless until you set that objective to the candidate, you make them understand, and where is this going to get connected to? If you're getting upskilled on this technology, if you're preparing for this, you need to also be very clear to the participants or the entire team, where are we going to link this up with? Unless until you tell that importance, it would not, be very effective for them, or put in 100% to go through. Now, once the person has a clear picture, what is my contribution if I do this? What is my contribution if I do not pitch in? What am I going to lose? So I think that clear setting expectation is very much needed, and that is something that was done. We set the expectation at the beginning. We took through the strategy. We made them aware of it. They went through the assessment. Once they were shortlisted, we put them into the tracks. Now, again, putting them into the tracks, it's not that we blindly pick them. No, it is again basis the skills they already had. So we were aligning or mapping them in the right way. It was not a random pick. That is very, very important as a L&D lead. And last one was, how do we balance between the personalization and the scalability? As I already said, the adaptive learning platforms also, for example, we already have external platforms available like Tech Academy. We already have different e-learning platform from the external partners or OEMs, or maybe there are different subscription based platform. But we wanted somebody to be very much comfortable using, and it should also guide them through a proper flow. It shouldn't be that, okay, somebody is giving you a registered account to log in, and it's all up to them to figure out where to click, what to do. No, it has to be in a proper format. So we already, what we did is we also built an inbuilt platform, because we wanted to take sources from different platforms. Like I said, some courses came from internal, some courses came from external sites, some were recorded sessions by the experts, SMEs, and all of that. And then we had an infra. We already have a data center in place where we had an infra configured and linked up, where people can actually practice or do the hands-on to that. So we wanted to combine all this, which is not possible on an external platform. Then we had to come up with our own internal learning platform, which has actually helped us to make it successful. So that is how the journey was.
Great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Now, this brings to my next question. Now, while you talked about personalization and scalability, now data and analytics play a crucial role in measuring the impact of digital skills development programs. So, can you please also elaborate on how your organization leverages data to assess the effectiveness of such learning initiatives so that you can make those data-driven decisions, Deepa?
Yeah, that is very important. So apart from what we have done so far, data plays a major role. If we look at the researchers also in last few years, maybe from last 2 years, this is one of the main focus area for all the organization, that is the data management, right? And also the assessment when it comes to the learning and development. Unless until you have the data in place, you cannot go ahead with any kind of analytics, right? And with analytics, yes, it is very much required. So we had our own analytical tool in house where now before I start or before I jump into the analytics, let me come back after the training is completed or maybe the kind of learning is completed. Are we actually evaluating? Is it needed to evaluate people? Are we gauging them? Are they able to adopt the topics that we want to teach them, right? Yes, yes, of course. So every module was keyed in, or maybe it was tied up with a kind of a quiz, or it can be a kind of an assessment. When I say assessments, it's not only about, I'm asking some 5 questions to answer. It can be a kind of logical thinking question. It can be a multi-choice question. It can be a scenario-based question. It can be something based on the logs or the files or the customer queries that we see day to day. So we brought in all those together into the assessment module where people were actually forced to think about before they go ahead and answer these questions. So we wanted to not only to make them learn, but also the thought process has to change. They need to start thinking out of the box. So that is something happened. So we did had the assessments in place. We did had regular feedback sessions if there are some issues, any concerns they had, any kind of support required or something that is not clear. They need some kind of more assistance, additional classes to be done. Or we also formed a kind of forum, support forum, where they used to have open discussions. There used to be SME sessions, as I said already, but again, we also used to add ad hoc sessions basis the inputs that we received. So this additional support is also very much important. I think that is actually helped us in bringing in that assessment system in place. Now, once everything is completed, the loop is complete, then with the data, with the platform, the LMS platform that we have in-house, we actually have the analytical tool which was already built, which used to help us to understand what is the progress of each and every participant. Is that particular person able to follow? If somebody we see that there is a lag, we used to go back and say, hey, look, are you finding any issues or do you have any challenges? I do see a kind of much delay in your learning path, right? Some people, it happens, they hesitate to come back to you. So it is always important that we own it end to end 360 degrees, and you do the analysis and then go back proactively and ask if they need any additional support. That was something that we did. Apart from that, was on the assessment portion, yes. Basis the scores that they had received, we could understand how good now they have an understanding on the topic, and how well they have understood, so that they can apply the logical thought process. Because the question is, as I said, it's a combination of everything. It's not a yes no question or a multi choice of question, not at all. And these were all customized again, keeping the the kind of deliverable that we have in house, and what kind of thought process, what kind of design thinking these people should bring in, critical thinking. I think with these learning and development, the professional learning piece also plays a major role. So some of these skills, if you ask me, one is the critical thinking, the design thinking, the effective communication, and executive escalations or executive connects. I think these are the major ones which play a very, very important role onto this. So through this, we were able to make the analytics and see where we stand, how we are able to do. If somebody is already stuck, there was some kind of obstacle, we would we would actually pick it up immediately with the analytical tool that we had in house, and we could see what best we can do, and we were able to meet the timeline with this data. But I must say, with analytics, it has reduced a lot of time consumption, and we could utilize that time more effectively into something else, because it's quick, right? You keep getting all that kind of different visions, visualizations, the data analytics that you have in place. That is amazing and excellent, I think.
Great, fantastic. Now you mentioned, Deepa, that there are a few people who are a bit hesitant for a change, right? And what I personally feel is that if you talk about the younger generation, the Gen Zs, I mean, because of the involvement of social media, those guys are, a bit, you can consider them as fast learner, and they're
Yes.
prepared to learn, right? And they are far better digital savvy compared to the oldies. So oldies are a bit rigid. So from the digital skills transformation perspective, it has to be a pull rather a push, right? So as digital skills requirements continue to evolve, how do you foster a culture of continuous learning and adaptability among employees? And what advice would you have for organizations looking to instill a learning culture?
Yeah, yeah. So I agree to that point regarding the Gen Zs, Vivek. They are much ahead. I must say, not only in the organization or at the workplace, but even around us, anywhere we see they are a bit ahead. They grasp the things very fast. They're aware of the technologies. They're aware of the analytical tools, AI tools. Now I must talk about AI, because AI is everywhere, right? So people are moving very faster, right? And it's easy for them to adopt the digital culture, because they are already coming through the organization, or the they're already coming out from the schools and the colleges where this culture is already integrated to them, because they've started learning all of this technology in the schooling itself. If you go back and look at the syllabus, it's already included. So it's not much challenging or difficult for us to include that as a digital form of learning for them, or much challenges that we see. No, not at all. Once you have that aligned, those people are aware of how it is. They're very easy to grasp at, and they're not very hesitant also. If we look at, they are the people very active, and they want to learn more and more and more, and they are very open to the questions, right? They may ask maybe 10, 20, 30 without any hesitance on the same topic. That is, which is very good thing, actually. Yes. It was little challenging with the people who were in the system for a longer run, because the way we were working was different. I must say the major impact was during the COVID, because before the COVID and after the COVID, you see the lot of changes has happened. All this transformation has boosted up after the COVID, because people were working in hybrid mode. People were working from they were not available at office at all, maybe for months together or years together, and all of that for whatever reasons that we had, right? So but I think now everybody has understood, and with the increasing technologies and the demands in the market, everybody has understood that if I do not work on myself, then it is going to be a bit challenging for me, because there are a lot of competitors, there are a lot of things running at a faster pace, which we should also be getting aligned to, right? And from that responsibility to make that enable, we come into picture. The L&D comes into picture, right? So that is our job and our responsibility. What are the options? What are the opportunities that we can make it available to the employees? So to coming to your last question, So what we do is we come up with the programs, we understand the people, we listen to the people, and we also have different forums, we have different programs, we have different forums, platforms, so where people come back and share their inputs, feedbacks, or if they want to learn about something new technology which is not a part of our curriculum, right? So those kind of open discussions are always there. But from the learning and development, we make sure that we lead them by an examples, explaining them how exactly things can be done, why it is important. We make sure these messages are passed very clearly, not only from the learning and development, but all speak the same language across the organization, including the leaders as well. Then, very important, I must say, how do we encourage these people to continue with the learning? One is, I think, recognition and rewards, which is very, very important. I think the best work is always to be recognized, and there has to be some kind of reward mechanism that all the organization have in place, and there has to be some kind of push that is really needed to these employees to keep learning, right? And we are the ones who need to show them the directions. If somebody has been in the same role, or maybe they are doing the same work, they are into their comfort zone, it is our responsibility to as a leader to speak about the changes that are happening around, and why it is important for each and every individual to start working on themselves. That is very, very important. And then I think there are a lot of things happening outside the organization. There are a lot of different organization working on the specialties, or maybe let us say not only learning development. There are some webinars going on, there are some sessions, or there are some connect meets happening, there are technical conferences which happen, right? So I think from that perspective, we are responsible that we bring all that together and make it available to our employees of the organization, so that they get in clarity, they get a visibility, and they can also participate as and when needed, right? So from that perspective, I always keep doing that, and we have been doing that, and I really feel very happy how much more I can bring it to the table and I can distribute to my people around. And I think the best second example would be that we had a connect recently. I think the kind of collaboration we had with different leaders from different organizations, we saw how we could learn new from them and how we could share our experience also. I think this is something very much important. Sharing has to continue, and also for the employee perspective, there should be some kind of recognition, some kind of rewards, some kind of appreciation to the best work that has been done should be always there to keep them motivated, keep moving.
Great, Deepa. I'm afraid that's the time which we have allocated for today. Otherwise, this is such a fascinating conversation that this can
Yeah,
go on and on
I
for
know.
at least a couple of hours, right? So, at this point of time, I would like to thank you, for the time today, Deepa. It was wonderful talking to you, and probably we will see you very soon in any of our high teas or the breakfast or the industry forums, which we'll be doing in Bangalore very shortly.
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Vivek, and very good topic. I enjoyed this session for today. As you said, 30 minutes is not enough, or this is an ongoing topic, I must say. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Happy to
absolutely.
see you
Probably we'll
soon.
have a version 2 or volume 2 of it probably
Okay.
in the near future.
Okay. Thank you
Sure.
so
Thank you very
much.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.